Podcast City Network.
This is Brad Chandler, and you're listening to The Brad Chandler Show.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Brad Chandler Show. Find us on Twitter at Brad Chandler Show. Search for us on YouTube at The Brad Chandler Show. With me today, I have a drummer of the band Begat the Nephilam, Josh Richardson. How are we doing?
Doing pretty all right. How you doing?
I am living the dream. You know, I can make some complaints, but I always tell people I can complain. Nobody's going to give a shit.
Fair enough.
So usually like the first thing that I tend to ask my guests because of this whole COVID bullshit is what's going on? You know, are you staying safe? Your family, your friends? How are you doing through COVID? You working?
Yeah, I'm I got a job down the street at a fucking gas station because I thought I was going to be there for 2 months, and I'm assistant manager, so it's going great, I guess. I don't know. It's something, I guess. It's money in the meantime, and just kind of, just trying to stay busy. Pretty much, I was doing that. I was helping my uncle with his pool company for a bit, and just random shit, trying to stay busy, trying to make money, and fucking hoping everything comes back, you know?
Trying to stay afloat during this bullshit time, right?
It's a bad time.
It is. It really is. And it's even worse for, you know, like I know, you know, you guys did a lot of touring and stuff, but one of your main gigs before COVID started was you were touring with other bands as like their roadies and merch people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I finally broke into that like full time enough to like quit my job and, you know, not one tour straight. Well, actually that, but like, you know, give it a couple weeks and then go back out type of thing. And it's finally like doing that. And then everything shut down.
Dude. Yeah, dude. I saw that, and you were like, I think one of the shows you did was a Killswitch Engage show. Like you were doing that tour or something like that.
Yeah, I was with Cro-Mags on the Killswitch and Clutch tour.
Cro-Mags.
That was fucking awesome.
I don't know if I really call them Cro-Mags. Harley's not in the band, so
you still get the other two, and then you know, you get John and AJ, not AJ, Mackie, and then AJ was in like Leeway and shit, so he's still legendary in his own right, even if he's not an OG.
Yeah,
so.
I'm still upset that the whole Harley thing happened. I just had Craig Silverman from Agnostic Front on a couple episodes ago, and he was telling me that the Cro-Mags was what got him like listening to some hardcore, and you know, he liked that type of stuff. And I was just like, wow, dude.
That was one of the coolest things. It was like, I think the third day of the Killswitch tour, because everyone's running around the first few days. No one really gets to like meet each other. Right. And I was in a field in West Virginia, and Jesse Leach came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I just wanted to introduce myself." And I'm like, "Oh, I know who you are." And and he's like, "Oh, dude," he's like, "You're out." He's like, "We're so excited those guys are on that tour." He's like, "You guys are out with legends." And every night he's like, if it wasn't for Cro-Mags, there would be no Killswitch. Like, it's on like, that's insane. Killswitch is one of my favorite bands, and like, you know, to be out with one of their favorite bands and watch them singing on the side of the stage every night and shit like that, I'm like, pretty goddamn cool. Like,
yeah, it's definitely cool to see. Even if it isn't like a legendary band, it's like you're on tour with other bands that you listen to on a regular basis. So I mean, that had to be cool. You went on tour with, was it Obituary or was it Incantation?
I'm both, but I'm drum tech, like stage manager for Obituary, and then Incantation we shared a bus with. I was actually with Tane, but
Jesus.
but we shared a bus with Incantation, so I became like really fucking good friends with them because the Watane guys were usually off. You know, they're not from here. They were usually off doing something, so I was with them on the bus most of the time, and fucking funny dudes, like, you know, just old death metal dads, and it's awesome.
Right. Yeah, right. The funny thing is like most people's like first death metal band is typically like Cannibal Corpse, you know.
Mhm.
And the first death metal band I ever heard was Incantation. It was like I was listening to Metallica, then I went Pantera, and I found Korn, and then I found Incantation, and I was just like, I really like these guys. Like, this is fucking cool.
My first like actual like death metal was Suffocation, because I asked my cousin, I'm like, who do you think the heaviest band is? He's like, let me show you these guys, and that was my introduction to death metal, was, you know, Liege.
Yeah, I went like Incantation, Cannibal Corpse, and then I just started going way downhill there.
Yeah.
It's like you can't get any much higher than those bands anyways.
Oh yeah.
So you're on the band, Begat the Nephilam. You guys are from New Hampshire. You guys do a lot. You guys did. Obviously, you guys aren't doing anything touring wise right now.
Mhm.
So what was one of the coolest moments, like, wow, man, this is cool, we're touring, that you had while being in Begat the Nephilim?
Oh man, this has been one of the coolest things. I'd say we did a Summer Slaughter in New York City at the Webster, and we were playing at the same time as Rings of Saturn, and when we were on, and while we were starting the set, there was like our manager and probably like 6 other people, and by the end of the first song, I'd say the room was fucking packed, and we were like, what the hell is happening? And after people, they were just going fucking ape shit, and no idea who we were. But the end of the set, somebody came up and was like, hey, you guys should thank Rings of Saturn. We're like, why? They're like, they were so fucking bad, they they forced us out of the room, and on our way outside we heard you guys play, and everyone just started piling in. We're like, wow, well, thank you.
That sucks to hear. You know, like I used to like Rings of Saturn, and then that whole Lucas Mann thing happened, like where he, you know, they're saying that he what was it, sped up his tracks to make it sound like he was playing faster than he actually was. And like right now, I don't know right now because I haven't heard too much about Rings of Saturn as of late, but I know like for a while he was like, he had to defend himself. He was like trying to like, all right, whatever, dude, fuck you, I can play. But it's like your old bandmates are coming out and saying that you sped up the tracks and shit. So it's like, who do we believe?
Yeah, exactly. If it's the one guy saying no and everybody else is like, dude, you know, then maybe maybe he did. I don't know. If did they have the guy from what the hell, Infinite Annihilator for a bit?
He was actually in Rings of Saturn, and then Infinite Annihilator. There was another band, Joel something. He was I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those bands I hear more about than I actually know about. You know what I mean? Like
Infinite Annihilator. Yeah, that is one of those bands that like you hear more about than you actually know about.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's cool. I mean, one of the coolest things I had to. It's not as cool as that, and I've never been one to play in front of I don't know, like hundreds of people and whatnot. I think the most I've ever played in front of was probably like a little over 100 people, and that was one of my first bands. We played the Webster Underground for Wasp.
Oh, no. That's awesome.
And the entire fucking underground was packed, and then people just left after we played. And it wasn't people we knew either, so that was probably one of the coolest shows I played.
That's pretty. Yeah, like I love those type of things. Like we did like a metal fest one year, and I remember Matt from Shadows Fall had like a table upstairs. He sells like, you know, old shirts and things like that. And
Right.
He's like, it was like a noticeable difference when you guys were on versus like some of the other bands. I'm like, oh, that's fun. He's like, yeah, I couldn't actually see you guys like because there were people in the way. I'm like, well, that's a good thing, right? So
There was
it's cool when that happens.
there was one show that I saw you guys at. It was the upstairs at the Palladium. You guys were playing. It wasn't the show you guys headlined. It was what was it? I want to say it was one of like the Summer Slaughter type tours. You guys were upstairs or something, and literally Andy was still in the band, and I remember the entire floor was packed, and then all of a sudden by the end of the show, I couldn't see any of you fucking dudes. Everybody was up on fucking stage, and I could easily just walk around the floor, and I'm just like, well, let's find Josh.
Yeah, like I don't know like how that happened because I have my in-ears in, so I can't hear anything. I can't hear like anything they're doing, playing, saying, anything. So then people just started like rushing the stage, and I'm like, the fuck is happening? Why is this? I'm like, this is cool, but I don't understand it, you know, type of thing. And I was like, this is pretty sweet.
I'm fucking oblivious to this.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it was so funny because I'm playing, and there are people like pointing like over my drum kit, just like, you know, headbanging, just doing things like that. And I'm like trying not to hit hands. I'm like, this is awesome. I want more of this.
That was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Outside of like Tyler, I think he made a paper airplane out of a Bible page.
I don't remember that, but that sounds right. That sounds perfect. Like I said, I can't hear them at all. So every once in a while, I'll hear about things like after the set, or I'll see a video or something. I'm like, that's so fucking funny. Like,
yes, I didn't see that. What happened? Where was I?
It's so like, because I'm like, yeah, I'm hidden by symbols and whatnot, and I can't hear anything, and you know all that, and I'm just kind of like trying not to fuck up too bad, and so I'm like, I'm usually in that zone, so I find out more after the show that like what they were doing or whatever. So it's always interesting to hear the backstories.
So one of the first shows I ever saw you guys at, it was in Rhode Island at the Fet. Tyler was shit-faced. I didn't really know you. I didn't know you guys at all. I had no fucking clue who you guys were. You know, I had people who were telling me like, hey, you should check this band out. I think I went to actually see, I think She Walks Without Legs was playing, and then maybe Fear of the Masses, and you guys were there, and you guys like turned my head because like I just like turned around and I just like hear you guys, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are fucking heavy.
Well, I appreciate that.
I remember the very next day you guys were playing the Waterfront at Holyoke.
I do remember that, yeah.
And then I had no plans of going to a show that day because I think it was a Sunday, and I don't usually do shit Sundays.
Yeah.
Like going out or whatever. So, and I was just like, man, I'm kind of fucking bored and I really want something to do. And this fucking heavy ass band that I saw yesterday is playing up here. I think it was like $10. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go see this band. And we all like, I started talking to you, started talking to Andy. I started talking to Kim. Didn't really talk to Tyler too much. But like, that's when we started like actually like talking, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, so, I remember that show. That was interesting. That place
you guys were fucking so hungover. I remember Andy was getting ready to fall over. Tyler looked like he was just ready to go to fucking bed. and you were full of fucking energy though. I remember that.
I'm the dad. I don't usually drink as much. I'm like, I got to be a person tomorrow.
You know what's funny? There was a couple episodes ago I was talking. I don't remember who it was I was talking to. I was like, "There's always a dad in the band. There's always a band dad." And our drummer in my last band was basically he was the youngest member in the band, and he was the band dad. And that was kind of funny.
Yeah, so, you need that person. Nothing gets done.
Oh yeah. You need like a manager. You need a band dad. You know, you need kind of like a mom too. Mm-hmm. But so your band, I just saw a picture where you guys celebrated 11 years. When did you guys start? I know it was you, Tyler, and Cam, and I know that Brandon came in a little later. But when did you guys start?
We started was it August 2012 was our first practice, like when we first started like jamming and whatnot, and it was me and Tyler were in a band, like a deathcore type of band from up here, and Cam was in a band who apparently we played with his band a lot, and it was always just like one of those things where we just never saw each other, never met each other, you know, one of those type of things, just
right.
And he messaged me on Facebook and was like, "Hey, I know your old band and whatnot. You want to jam?" And it turned out he lived like right down the street. So I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went over and he played through. He had the first album written. He wrote it like a few years prior, and he's just kind of like just playing through it on guitar. And I'm like, "This is sick. Like this is what I want." So it was him, and he had a guitarist that he was friends with, Dill, and I was like, I'll do it, but I have a vocalist I kind of want to keep with me, and I've gone to school with him since like 4th grade, so I'm like I've kind of stuck with him at this point. Like he's the guy I want to work with, and he's like, yeah, that works. And so when we had a bassist, then we didn't for a really long time, and then we finally got Brendan. And Dill left, and we had just the 3 of us for a little bit. That was interesting, and it's been a weird time. Like we haven't had a full band in a few years now. And then we had Andy on guitar, then we had TJ, and TJ was the last full time like guy we had, and we've had a couple fill-ins for different shows and what something bigger where we want the full thing or whatever. So we've had it, and we've talked about getting another person, but we're also kind of like, but we already know this works. Like if we bring somebody else in who kind of like sucks and whatever, like not maybe as a guitarist, but like as a person, it's just like just extra drama and all that kind of shit. So we're like, we keep going back and forth about it because we would love it. We've talked about getting like a keyboard player, but the same type of thing. We're like,
do you really want that extra person to add extra drama? And
exactly.
So I got to ask you a question real quick. Mm-hmm. I think I'm hearing meowing. Is that a cat?
Yeah. Yeah. My cat is an asshole, and it's like, if she doesn't stop. So from the time I get home to the time I leave, she does not stop.
I'd fucking go crazy.
It doesn't fucking like we have a spray bottle that usually we'll give her like a little spray or something like that. For a little while I could just keep it in my door, and she didn't want to come by my door. But now she's not afraid of it anymore, so I got to think of something else.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, she's a pain in the ass. It's because my door's shut. That's what it is.
It's the separation anxiety. I have my sister's cat is just like that. I was staying with her for a little while, and the bedroom, I'd have the door closed, and all of a sudden, like I'd hear meow meow, like all fucking night, and then finally. then finally I was just like, fuck it. I left the door open and she'd come in. She'd come in for like 2 seconds and leave. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
fuck out of here.
Yeah. Like it's while I'm walking across the like house. Like if I'll be sitting on the couch and get up to like go get a drink and around like freaking out, like rubbing on everything. I'm like, what the hell is like flopping on the floor? Like the fuck? So, and she's a climber. She likes to try to climb up me. So she's always in a position to just pounce and like land on my shoulder.
So you probably got plenty of cat scratches all over you.
Oh my god, it's terrible. And she's kind of figured out if I'm wearing my big jacket, like it's okay. Like I don't mind it as much. But anything else she'll kind of like hesitate on. So I'm like, she's kind of picking up. She's learning.
So I want to know a little bit more about you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a drummer. When did you think to yourself, man, I want to play drums?
It's just kind of always been a thing. My dad, cousin, and uncle are all drummers, and so when I was a kid, I was just always around it, and growing up in like bars and clubs and whatnot, and like Christmas Eve, we would set up, in the kitchen, and everybody would play something, so everybody was doing different songs, and a lot of classic rock and oldies and things like that, country. And when I was 3, I think I was 3, Santa brought me a kit.
Santa?
Yeah, because my mom said no, but my dad wanted me to have a kit, so Santa brought me a kit. And because, you can't say no to a Santa with a 3-year-old. And so I got that, and it was like an old Ludwig kit and a couple Zildjian cymbals and whatnot, and just kind of went from there. When I got a little bit older, I got another, like, it was an older kit, but it was like a bigger, regular size kind of kid and whatnot. And just kind of from there, like, just went right into it. Like 4th grade, I was in the school band, and that's how I met Tyler and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of did it. Just always been a thing.
So you've known Tyler for how long?
1999, I think I met him.
So 22 years.
Yeah.
Around 22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
did
bastard.
Did he look like it? Did he look like the vocalist from Staind back then too?
He had a little bit more hair. Not a whole lot more. He was playing trumpet in the school band, which so there's I mean, he was good though. He was actually good, and we've actually talked to him about like, hey, you want to dust that thing off and put some layers on the and he's like, I'll do it. Like he's cool. He plays pretty much everything. He was keyboardist in a black metal band at one point. He plays guitar, bass, he fucks around on drums. And he's not like he wouldn't, he's not like a drummer, but he can hold a beat, type of thing. So, but yeah, he's actually like more than you'd think, actually, because he's the vocalist, so he doesn't really do any of that. So
I'll have to call him out on that one day and be like, hey, I want to see you play the trumpet.
I got pictures in like old home video type thing of like that, of like in the school at the actually I think his mother has like all that stuff like saved, so she brings it up from time to time. Like, I get this old video of the school band, and you're running around the crowd trying to get people to sing, like this type of shit. So I'm like, I got to sit back and watch that sometime.
Luckily, I've never been in a fucking school band. the most I've ever been in was a jazz rock improv band at school. That was it.
There you go. That's fun though.
Yeah. So what was so Begat the Nephilim obviously wasn't your first band. And I'm assuming that the band before that wasn't your first band. Let us know a little bit of the history of like the bands that you have been in.
Well, I guess the first, so I was in like a lot of like, bad bands that like would have like one song covered by like 6 cover songs type of thing. It would be like, you know, For Whom the Bell Tolls. It would be like, you know, the things you kind of expect, like doing a really bad job at like a Slayer song, you know, type of shit. And then we would have like our own song that was like, this is the best fucking thing ever, and it was terrible. And so I'd say the first actual band I was in that like played shows and did things was this band Never the Next Day. And they started as like punk pop type of thing, almost like a Census Fail type of thing, that like when I got in there, like, oh, you're more of like a metal kind of drummer. So I started putting like my stuff over it, and it turned, you know, we would play with like Seamless and things like that, and it would be almost more of like that kind of sound, and just bad things with that. So we kicked out our vocalist, and we the band Chapter 50 was breaking up around the same time, and they were pretty big around the New England area. And we ended up getting their vocalist, and we changed the name to the U Betrayal, you know, because he was like a doom like kind of guy. So he's like, you know, YUEH, so it's like that type of thing. And he tried to explain it. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But, you know, whatever, we kept it. And we had that for a couple of years, and then that was when I really started, like, you know, I played like New York for the first time and things like that, where I'm like, oh man, like, so I can just go do this type of thing. And what did I have after that? I think after that was when I filled in for a tour for Shot Heard Around the World, and that was my first tour, and that was awesome. That was a full US. Well, it's supposed to be a full US. We broke down in a parking lot in Colorado for a week, but
you guys broke down for a week.
A week. It was. I think it was 5 days. We were stuck in a Walmart parking lot in oh my god, it was in Colorado. I can't remember the name of the town. Frisco, Colorado, and it was fucking. It was fun. But it was a weird time. We were just like making friends with the locals and shit. Like, it was like
shower.
Yeah, this town was basically South Park. There was like one road in, one road out. That road had like every fast food joint and like a Walmart. And then there was one street that had like bars on it, and that was about it. Like, this town, it was fucking tiny. And so, you know, there was like a head shop that we hung out at, and that girl took care of us. She just like showed up and like handed us a handle, or, you know, type of thing. But yeah, that was my first tour, and that was my first like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, and this is what I want to do. I'm stuck in Fresno, fucking Colorado for 5 fucking days.
Well, even that, like, I'd do that again. It was fun. Like, you know, that's like the experience.
Really, how old were you when that happened?
That was 2010. So 21, 22.
So you probably didn't have any like real responsibilities at that time, right? Were you like really. Were you living on your own?
Yeah, I had I was actually living with the guitarist for the band I was in before that, which was a bad time too. But I was able to, like, I actually had like 2 weeks notice to like learn the songs and to see if I wanted, because their drummer quit kind of last minute, and so I had like 2 weeks notice to try to get a month's worth of rent, a month's worth of food money, and learn these songs and like all that kind of shit, and it worked out, but it was rough.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I can only imagine at 21 is like you're going on tour and you have a responsibility to pay your rent, but you need to be able to eat and whatnot too.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so that was the first, like, you know, time playing like most of those states and even being most of those places, really. So it was cool. And after that, I was like, I just want to tour a lot. I want to do that. I want to go and do that. I mean, I always had that kind of, you know, mentality anyway, where I knew that's what I wanted. But once I got like that taste of it, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that.
This is what I want to do forever now.
Exactly. So yeah, so after I did that, I think Begat was the next band. Like I jammed with people and I tried, we tried putting little things together and it just, things just didn't work out or whatever. And then no, actually then we had a Record of Hate. Me and Tyler had a Record of Hate, which was like we were basically old Whitechapel meets like I Declare War.
Okay.
It was just that like kill each other deathcore. And like it was fun though. Like we literally like it got to a point where if there wasn't a fight during our set, even the promoter would be like, "The fuck happened?" Type thing. Like, aren't you not supposed to want that? It's like, yeah, but now it's becoming a thing. Like we kind of expect it now. I'm like, well, that's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, so we had a Record of Hate, and that's it was short lived, but like it got a name like pretty fairly quick. In around like New Hampshire and whatnot, Mass New Hampshire, and then that broke up and almost immediately went into Begat, and
Nice.
started that. I think it was like a couple months later, something like that.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, I've seen you guys quite a bit. I think I probably have seen you guys at least 10 or 12 times outside of Connecticut. And I gotta say, you guys are one of my favorite bands to watch. It's because I haven't known you guys all that long, but I feel like you guys are wicked cool people to fucking show with. Like I like talking to you, Brandon, Tyler, Cam. All you guys are fucking mad chill, cool as fuck. I can see you outside of a show. You guys aren't even playing to be like, "Yo, what's going on?" And you guys would be like, "Hey, what's up?" And like I'll just chill with you guys. And that's that. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, we like to be boys. We like to chill and just fucking have a beer and like have fun with people. That's the show part is like obviously a part of it, but if that part sucked, then what the hell's the point of being there at all?
Right.
So,
I have to say one of my another like fond memory I have from you guys was at RPM Fest. I ended up playing that weekend as well, but it was like being able to see you guys from like behind the scene. You know what I mean? Like you remember how the stage was set up and whatnot. The campsites were on the back of the stages and whatnot. I could just you wake up, you roll over, and there's the fucking stage. And I thought the coolest thing was like that year. I don't remember what year that was. Was that 2017?
Oh, I am terrible with any dates, anything like that. I'm really bad with.
So it's either 2016 or 2017. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But
sounds right.
I remember you guys were getting ready to play. You get up on stage. You're wearing your like Hawaiian shirt, I think it was. And I'm just watching you from behind, and like I'm just because I've always been fascinated by drummers, and I've always wanted to. I always loved like watching drummers like when they use double kicks, and being able to be back there and actually watching like how you were moving your feet and everything. It was just like it was cool as hell. But seeing Cam wearing a Kesha shirt was even funny. It was funny as fuck.
Oh yeah. I've had to. He has a fondness for those. Like he has like Kesha shirts. He has random like cat shirts and things like that. He like that's what he wears all the time. And I'm like, there's been a few times I'm like, can we at least like figure something out for like on stage? And he's just like, no, I'm wearing my fucking Kesha shirt. I'm like, all right. He talked Brendan out of his purple pants, so I guess that'll be the victory in that. Look, I hope you haven't seen them. It's rough. It's brutal. Even Cam in his Kesha shirt's like, dude. He's like, what the fuck?
Why? What? You want everybody wearing black the entire time?
I mean, that's all I wear. I think that's all I have. No, I mean, we've kind of more joked, I guess, than anything. Just like fucking Kesha, yeah. All right.
I'm not gonna lie,
we,
man. I'm not gonna lie. I like me some Kesha.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like Kesha, but it's funny. Like it's just one of those things. Like when he first started pulling it out, I'm like,
Dude,
the hell
really?
are you wearing? The hell are you wearing?
It's not a metal shirt.
Yeah, basically.
I actually
But,
saw.
you know,
I saw Kesha. She played a festival down in New York, and Protest the Hero was playing the same festival, and Drake was
cool.
playing. And all I remember is I was wearing this shirt that had the little smiley face, and it said "Smile if you take it in the ass." And I'm sitting there. I was drunk. And I'm yelling at Kesha, I'm like, Kesha, I want to fuck you in the ass. And then all of a sudden, I like look in front of me. There's like a 10-year-old girl there, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna walk away from this one.
Fucking, that sounds about right. Like those things that it's just like, shit, I'm here now.
I said it. I have to own it, but I'm gonna walk away. This is way too much. I can't believe I just said that in front of that kid. But so you guys play tour a lot. You guys have played, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York. You guys have played out in Texas. What was one of the coolest tours that you guys did in Begat the Nephilam?
I mean, all of them have like really fucking cool like points, but I'd say the first like full US one we had was really fucking cool. It was with Abolishment of Flesh from Texas and Mutilated by Zombies from Dubuque, Iowa. And
from where?
Dubuque, Iowa.
Never even knew that fucking existed.
Oh yeah, there's nothing there, and that was one of the things that made it kind of cool because they never left. They had never been out of Iowa, and it's basically like a giant cornfield, and so I was with them exploring like Oakland, and they were just beside themselves. They were like, "What the fuck? like where are we?" And me, Josh, the guitarist and vocalist for that band, and our like stage everything guy James went to a Taco Bell, and while we were in there, they started like locking the doors and whatnot because it was like 5 o'clock at night or whatever, and we're like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, just let us know if you guys want to go out. We lock the doors from now until the time we leave." And we're like, "Why?" It was basically like The Walking Dead. Like everyone had like cups that they were demanding refills, and people were like banging on the windows and shit. And we're like, "Oh, I get it now."
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, it was basically like an Evil Dead, like people just pounding on the window, like type of thing. And I'm like, this is fucked. But yeah, it was really funny. That was really, really cool because we had a day off in Los Angeles. And so, I'm a nerd with the movie locations and shit like that. So we were running around like just seeing stuff all day, and we got drunk on the fucking Santa Monica Pier and that type of thing, and like Muscle Beach we're just fucking pounding drinks and that type of thing, and like that was a really cool like we made it to the other side of the country because we play shitty death metal like type of thing, and like that was like a really cool like we're getting paid to like be here. This is fucking insane. So I'd say that, but there's so many like on every tour. There's been so many parts that are just like, wow, type things like
right.
Like we get to do this.
So I went through your Facebook page. I typically, when I have a guest come on, I go through their social media. I grab some pictures and whatnot. And one of the most interesting pictures I found was this one. You and Mr. Feeney.
Yep.
So give us a little background on what, because the caption was like, if you know me and know what Mr. Feeney, give us a little depth about like what Mr. Feeney ended up doing for you. I've always wanted to ask you about this. I just keep forgetting, and I just happen,
Yeah, fair enough. No, I've always, Boy Meets World was one of those shows that was just kind of like, like what I mean? Like there's
TGI
like,
Fridays, bro.
Oh hell yeah! Like I always fucking love that show, and there was like, between a couple of the characters there, like especially Sean and Corey, they were like, there are so many things that I'm like, oh fuck, I like really like would identify with or whatever, and and Mr. Feeney's, been there constant. Like my dad wasn't really around like all that much when I was growing up and all that kind of stuff. So like just watching that show, and he was like the father kind of, guy on it, giving advice and all that kind of shit. It was just kind of one of those things that kind of like just yeah, fuck yeah, Mr. Feeney, like life coach type of thing. And I found out he came out with a new book, and he was doing a signing in New York City. And so I was just like, well, looks like I'm driving down to New York City to meet Mr. Feeney. And I waited in line and everything, and it was so fucking cool. His wife was there too, and she's, a legend. So yeah, just fucking it was really, really cool. I got to like, just shake his hand and basically like just thank him for being him, basically. And like, 'cause he's a legend for other movies, The Graduate and all these, other things, and voice of fucking Kip, on Knight Rider and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know, just like he's always been like an influence for me. So to actually like get to like meet him and shake his hand and like, actually like have like a minute to talk with him, it was like, that was one of those things that I like went outside. I was like, I just met fucking Mr. Feeney. I'm like, that's insane. that's fucking crazy to me. Yeah, just one of those things that that basically like.
Yeah, I've always wanted to know what the fascination was in Mr. Feeney, and now we all found out. I have to agree with Boy Meets World was pretty cool. I thought that the Girl Meets World spinoff was kind of lame.
Yeah, it was all right. It was like,
I can't believe we're actually. I can't believe we're talking about Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World out here. But here we are.
You'd be amazed how much I talk about Boy Meets World.
Hey, dude, the amount of traveling that you do, you're basically the Boy Meets the United States until you get the Boy Meets World.
Well, I'm setting up me and my cousin are doing a trip where we're just basically like, we need to get the fuck out. So we're basically around like movie locations and just going to see things, just to travel and see shit. And I have there's only 2 locations that weren't on a soundstage, but I got both of those addresses in lock, and I'm definitely going to see them. So the school is one, and then Corey's house is the other. But the school is actually pretty cool because it was using like Nightmare on Elm Street and Grease and a bunch of other shit too. So, yeah, Ferris Bueller, like a bunch of other shit. So it's like, a bunch of shit all at once type of thing. And Walt Disney's house is across the street. So
that is pretty cool. I've noticed that. I noticed that with some of the pictures that you end up posting. You post a shit ton of pictures, especially when you travel, and it's like, oh, I've been here. This is the, you would show the picture of you where it is, and then you'd show a picture of like the movie or a still from like what it was.
Yeah, like I always. It's kind of go with the music thing too, because I grew up, like I said, with my dad and everybody. So I was always like carrying their drums and like helping them set up, and then I would sit and like watch them play, and then help break everything down at the end of the night. And I just always thought it was like, people see the movie, people see the show, whatever it is, but there's so much shit that goes in to behind it, and like. That's always fascinated me. And I always said, like growing up too, if like being a drummer didn't work, I would try to be a roadie. I would try to be like a drum tech or something like that. Cause I just want to be around it. I love doing that, like, type stuff. And, so I got a job stagehand at the Palladium, and, which they were like, why don't you just work here? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, that's an option. And, yeah, so I started doing that, and from there, that's how I started like really talking to people, and I met my friend Chad, and he's a fucking merch legend. So he tour manages and all that kind of stuff, and he he introduced me to Obituary. He introduced me to a lot of people, and it just yeah, like I've just always loved that like kind of behind the scenes thing. So like with that, like earlier I saved one. It popped up in my memories from when we were in Texas. We went to the Texas Chainsaw, like the gas station.
Yep.
And that just popped up in my memories like an hour ago, and so I'll probably post that again later today. But yeah, just like shit like that. It's like that's like that movie it changed the world, like type of thing. And to like stand in a spot where that happened, you know what I mean? Where that like,
Right.
or I'll go to like Albert Fish's house, where he like committed a murder, something like that, or Jeffrey Dahmer's house, something like that. And I'm like, this is like world history, and I get to like stand there and like, and I know what it is, like actually another Mr. Feeney line. He's like, if you can go to the beach and like, it's just a day at the beach, but if you know what happened on that beach, then it changes what it changes everything. It's a completely different thing, and that's how I try to like look at really everything. It's like something monumental happened here,
Right.
something like huge, like something that changed the world even a little bit happened in this spot, and that's pretty much what I like to do with that,
Regardless if it was a murder or not.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Somebody ate somebody here.
One of the coolest things that I got to see. A band I was in, we played the Milwaukee Metal Festival. I don't remember what year it was. It was pretty cool. It was just weird because we'd never played outside of Connecticut, and then we were playing the Milwaukee. Metal Festival. So, I mean, the coolest thing for me was at that time I was really into the band Macabre, and I was supposed to see them earlier that year with one of my best friends. They were playing with Cannibal Corpse down at Toad's place, and I was like, "Fuck, I missed them." And then we got on this show, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, if we're playing during the time Macabre's playing, you guys are fucked because I'm not missing Macabre again." So there's been a thing with my my old guitarist Patrick and my, not really myself, but it's Macabre. I want to see Macabre.
I want to see Macabre.
Yeah, but the coolest thing that happened to us while we were there, we ended up going to this bar, and there was this guy. He was just like randomly there. I didn't know him. Obviously, we're from Connecticut, and then we got ID'd. Like normal bars do, and. Yeah. The bartender's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing from Connecticut?" And then this guy like comes over and he's like, "You guys are from Connecticut?" And, yes. And he's like, "Would you like to see something cool?" I was like, "Depends on what it is, basically." Yeah. He goes, "Would you guys like to see where Jeffrey Dahmer's house was?" I'm like, "Fuck yes!" Yeah. So it was the arresting sheriff. The guy he's I don't know if it really was. But he said he was the arresting sheriff. He arrested Jeffrey Dahmer. He was the one that put him in cuffs and whatnot. And he brought us over to where the house was because they tore the house down.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was just like, wow, dude. It would be a lot cooler if there was a house here.
It's still fucking cool. Like, actually, right across the street from where you were, because that's I was with Obituary on the Black Label tour. There at that same place, and Terry knows that I like doing that kind of shit. So he's like, "Hey, go look out that window over there." So I look out across the street, and across the street's the Ambassador Hotel, where Jeffrey Dahmer killed his I think it was his second victim, and it started in the bar there and went up to his room, and he took him out in a suitcase, took his body out in a suitcase, and I was like, oh, no shit. Like, I didn't even get a chance. We were late to that show. We ran into bus problems. And we fuck it like almost every day of that tour. But we, so I didn't even get a chance to like look around anything other than the venue. And the venue itself was really, really cool. But he was telling me when he was playing one of the Milwaukee Death Fests, when he was with 6 Feet Under, and like while they were playing, there was a bunch of commotion going on. It was Jeffrey Dahmer getting arrested. Apparently, that's what he was telling me. Was he? I think it was 6 Feet Under. Maybe it was Death. Either way, it was one of the fests, and there was like a commotion going on, and that was going on like down the street while they were, because whatever that big, I can't remember the name of the venue, but yeah, he was just like, yeah, we were here when that happened. We were like, what the hell is going on? I don't know. Some guy's getting arrested down the street. It's fucking Jeffrey Dahmer.
I completely forgot that Terry Butler was in Obituary.
Yeah. Fucking, I guess he just started something. He just posted something the other day. He just started another band too. He's an animal. But yeah,
I'd like to find out what his feelings are on Chris Barnes, seeing as though he's constantly with him in 6 Feet Under. I hate that guy.
Chris?
Yeah, he's such a dick.
Yeah, most of the people I know who know him, like I've never met him. Actually, Begat was we got offered a 6 Feet Under tour at one point, and we're like, yeah, like it worked for Caldecap, but
yeah. See, like, that's the reason why I have no like I used to be a huge Chris Barnes fan, and I'm friends with the guys from Cattle Decapitation.
Oh, cool.
And I had Josh on a couple episodes ago as well, and I saw that tour. They played at the Webster Underground, and Cattle Decapitation would only play like the around the area like once every year. And then all of a sudden, I heard the news that they dropped off the tour. It was them, Wretched, and 6 Feet Under, and I was like, "Well, what the fuck happened?" And then like I'm trying to talk to Travis, I'm trying to talk to Josh, I'm trying to talk to Dave. I can't find anything out. I end up getting in contact with like Kevin Talley, who he's not an easy person to get a hold of. And I'm like,
yeah, no,
what in the fuck happened? He's like, you should talk to somebody else because I can't really say anything. Then I found out that Cattle was playing a show down in Danbury because they dropped off the tour after that happened. And then the very next week they played a show down in Danbury. And I was like, well, dude, this is going to be the first time I get to see Cattle Decapitation twice in 1 week. But I went to go see them, and I was talking to Travis about it, and he got sucker punched, and I was like, "Yep, well, fuck 6 Feet Under." Yeah. After the tour was done, I talked to Kevin again, and he told me, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not working with him again."
Yeah, that happened in Cambridge, Mass, and that show is actually supposed to be Begat's first show, and we didn't have a name yet. So we didn't get the spot. we didn't get the spot. The guy was like, if you guys can come up with a name, well, you can play it. And by the time we figured one out, he's like, oh, sorry, I already filled it. We're like, damn it. And then all that happened. We're like, son of a bitch. That would have been a sick first show.
Right. So gonna get to the end of the episode. I should have probably asked this at the beginning. Just give us a little how did you guys come up with the name?
Well, that we were kind of like, they said if we came up with a name, so we were just looking shit up, basically just like, Googling like crazy different like just different shit, like just different things that we thought were interesting about, that we thought would fit about different demons or different things like that, like trying to find like something that kind of stuck out. And Begat the Nephilim's actually like in the Bible. They like that line, I can't remember the exact thing. It was like talking about somebody who begat the Nephilim, and then because they mentioned Nephilim a few times in the Bible. It's basically a demigod. It's a creation between a god and a human. And there are these monster fucking things that some people think might have actually been real. Like the story of like David and Goliath, they think might have been like a Nephilim and shit like that. So they're just basically that, and they were supposedly one of the reasons for the great floods and all that kind of stuff. It's like, all right, so there's like a band called Nephilim, and then there's like Rise of the Nephilim, but we're like, fuck it.
Like,
and that's about it. Yeah. And it actually kind of funny, Eric from Watain had to sit down with me one night about our band name. And he's just like, there's already Rise of the Nephilim, right? I'm like, yeah. He's just like, you guys should probably change your name. Like, we've been here for a bit now. So it was just kind of funny. He's like, yes, but Rise of the Nephilim. And he was just like, hell bent on like that's one of his favorite bands. He's like, you can't have the same name as one of my favorite bands.
That sucks, dude.
It's kind of funny, but yeah.
So
basically just Google.
That's pretty cool, dude. In all honesty, well, we're gonna end up ending the episode with one of the songs that came off of your. Is this your only album? Why don't you pronounce it, because I'm gonna butcher it.
I will too. To be completely honest, it's Tyler with his big stupid names.
The surreptitious prophecy, mother of blasphemy.
It's the surreptitious prophecy. So it's basically so something like that. It's like it's basically supposed to mean like something that should go unspoken, like a prophecy that should go untold type of thing, because he linked a lot of the lyrics together basically, and it like tells a story of the mother of blasphemy and her rise, and it's a bunch of people's like personal hells, and he's fucking all over the place, but everything like ties together at the same time. Jesus. And so it's intense. Like honestly, like I don't even ask for song names at this point. I'm just like
just tell me the track number.
Yeah, basically. And like I'll even if I'm writing the set list, I'll write half the word or something like that, because I'm like I just he's good. He knows what he's doing. I trust him. Like I'll just tell me what song number we're playing, and
right.
I'm a drummer. I don't need to know that shit.
All right, so we're going to end up playing Cardboard Casket off the 2018 album, The Surreptitious Prophecy, Mother of Blasphemy. I butchered it again. Josh, thank you so much for joining me. Stay on. I want to talk to you after the show's done, okay?
Sounds
Everybody
good.
Enjoy this. Enjoy Cardboard Casket.
Where's